I dare you to name another movie where the main character appears for only 16 minutes of screen time, yet dominates every single scene, every conversation, and every nightmare you'll have afterward. Anthony Hopkins achieved the impossible in The Silence of the Lambs by creating cinema's most unforgettable monster with less screen time than a sitcom episode. A rookie FBI agent, a cannibalistic psychiatrist, and a moth-obsessed serial killer combined to give us one of the most faultless psychological thrillers of its time. Chapter 1. Let's set the ball rolling at the FBI Academy in Quantico, where trainee Clarice Starling is literally climbing her way to the top. Well, at least climbing rope while her instructor barks orders. Jodie Foster brings something special to this role right from minute one. Clarice is small, determined, and carrying emotional baggage that could fill a cargo plane. Jack Crawford, the head of behavioral sciences, pulls Clarice aside for what seems like a routine assignment. Visit Dr. Hannibal Lecter, conduct a psychological survey, easy money, except Crawford's hiding something massive. There's another killer out there, someone they've dubbed Buffalo Bill, and he's escalating fast. I think this setup is super brilliant, and here's why. Clarice thinks she's the hunter, but she's actually walking into a web where she'll become both predator and prey. The genius of Thomas Harris's story is how it layers deception upon deception, until nobody, not the characters, not the audience, knows who's really in control. The name Buffalo Bill isn't random, by the way. It's a reference to the historical figure who killed buffalo for their hides, just like our killer is harvesting human skin. Subtle? No. Effective? Absolutely. Chapter 2. Then comes the scene that changed everything. Clarice descends into the basement of the Baltimore State Hospital for the criminally insane, and honestly, the atmosphere is thicker than molasses. The lighting, the sound design, even the way the camera moves, everything screams danger. Dr. Hannibal Lecter's introduction is a genius in character development. He's standing in his cell, perfectly composed, reading, looking more like a distinguished professor than a man who once ate a census taker's liver with fava beans and a nice Chianti. That's the hook right there. He's not what you expect evil to look like. Their first conversation is like watching a chess match between a grandmaster and someone who just learned the rules. Lecter immediately sees through Clarice's pretense, recognizes her accent, her background, her insecurities. In return, he offers her a glimpse into Buffalo Bill's psychology, but nothing comes free in Lecter's world. Anthony Hopkins brings something genuinely terrifying to Lecter, intelligence combined with complete moral emptiness. He's not ranting or foaming at the mouth. He's calm, articulate, and absolutely lethal. That contrast between civility and savagery is what makes him unforgettable. The other prisoners in this wing are literally throwing bodily fluids at Clarice, but Lecter? He wouldn't dream of such crudeness. His violence is refined, calculated, almost artistic. That makes him infinitely more dangerous. Chapter 3. Buffalo Bill claims his next victim, Catherine Martin, daughter of a U.S. senator. Suddenly, this isn't just another serial killer case. It's a political nightmare with a ticking clock. The FBI has maybe 3 days before Catherine becomes another suit in Bill's grotesque collection. This escalation forces Crawford to make Clarice his primary liaison with Lecter. She's no longer conducting surveys. She's negotiating with the devil for information that could save a life. The pressure is immense, and you can see it wearing on her. Lecter agrees to help, but his price is always personal information about Clarice. He wants to know about her childhood, her fears, her dreams. Each revelation is like handing over a piece of her soul, and Lecter savors every detail. The brilliance here is how the story uses Clarice's vulnerability as her strength. Her traumatic past, losing her father, the screaming lambs she couldn't save. These aren't just sob story elements. They're the key to understanding both her determination and her connection to the victims. We then get glimpses of Buffalo Bill in his lair, and let me tell you, James Gumb is nightmare fuel. He's not the sophisticated monster that Lecter is. He's pathetic, desperate, and somehow that makes him even more terrifying. Ted Levine's performance walks the line between ridiculous and horrifying perfectly. Chapter 4. So far, you might be mistaken to think this film is only about the serial killers, but there's more to it. It's about Clarice's journey from victim to survivor to hero. Every interaction with Lecter strips away another layer of her defenses, forcing her to confront her past trauma. The famous quid pro quo scenes are essentially therapy sessions from hell. Lecter isn't just extracting information, he's performing psychological surgery without anesthesia. He knows exactly which buttons to push, which wounds to probe, how to make Clarice relive her worst memories. Yet somehow, this process makes her stronger. By facing her demons, literally and figuratively, Clarice gains the insight she needs to catch Buffalo Bill. It's twisted character development at its finest. Lecter's escape sequence deserves special mention because it's absolutely bonkers. The man turns a paramedic's radio into a weapon, performs facial reconstruction surgery with a penknife, and walks out of a crime scene wearing another man's face like a Halloween mask, all while maintaining perfect composure. This scene works because it establishes Lecter as genuinely superhuman. He's not just smart, he's operating on a level that defies normal human limitations. That makes his interest in Clarice all the more significant. She must be truly special to capture his attention. Chapter 5. The investigation leads Clarice to James Gumb's house, and this is where the film shifts into pure nightmare territory. The basement sequence is claustrophobic horror at its peak, night vision, maze-like passages, and the constant threat of violence in the dark. What makes this sequence brilliant is how it strips away all of Clarice's advantages. She's alone, outgunned, literally in the dark, facing a killer on his home turf. Everything she's learned, all her training, comes down to this moment. The symbolism throughout this film is incredible, by the way. The death's head hawk moths, the well that becomes a metaphorical pit, even the way light and darkness are used. Every visual element reinforces the themes of transformation and rebirth. Gumb isn't trying to become someone else. He's trying to become something else entirely. His crimes are his grotesque attempt at metamorphosis, which makes the moth imagery perfect. He's a caterpillar that's become something monstrous instead of beautiful. And can we talk about how this movie handles gender? Clarice is constantly underestimated because she's a woman, but that becomes her secret weapon. Nobody sees her coming, including Buffalo Bill. Chapter 6. The final confrontation between Clarice and Buffalo Bill is masterfully crafted tension. She's literally stumbling in the dark while he watches her through night vision goggles. The power dynamic seems completely reversed from the confident FBI agent we met at the beginning. But here's the beautiful thing. All of Clarice's training, all her conversations with Lecter, all her personal growth culminates in this moment. She doesn't win through superior firepower or tactical advantage. She wins through understanding, intuition, and sheer determination. The rescue of Catherine Martin isn't just a victory over Buffalo Bill, it's Clarice finally saving the lamb. The metaphor that's been building throughout the entire film reaches its resolution. She couldn't save the lambs from her childhood, but she can save this victim. How the film treats violence is notable. When Clarice finally shoots Buffalo Bill, there's no celebration, no triumphant music. It's necessary, tragic, and deeply human. She's not a killer. She's someone who had to kill to save innocent life. The aftermath is equally important. Clarice has graduated from victim to hero, but she's not unchanged by the experience. Growth always comes with a price, and hers was having to dance with monsters. Chapter 7. The film's ending is perfection disguised as a phone call. Lecter, now free and living under a new identity, contacts Clarice to congratulate her. He's not threatening her, quite the opposite. He's proud of his protege, genuinely pleased by her success. This final conversation reveals the twisted relationship that's developed between them. Lecter has become something like a mentor to Clarice, albeit the most dangerous mentor in cinematic history. He's helped her grow by forcing her to confront her deepest fears. The genius of this ending is how it leaves everything unresolved. Lecter is free, Clarice is graduated, and their relationship continues to exist in this gray area between enemy and ally. It's deeply unsettling and absolutely perfect. When Lecter mentions having an old friend for dinner, we know he's not talking about catching up over coffee. Dr. Chilton, who's been pursuing him, is about to discover what happens when you annoy Hannibal Lecter. The Predator is back in his element. That final image of Lecter disappearing into a crowd is haunting because it reminds us that monsters don't always look like monsters. They can be charming, intelligent, even helpful, right up until they're not. The Silence of the Lambs endures because it understands something fundamental about horror. The most terrifying monsters are the ones that could be real. Hannibal Lecter isn't a supernatural creature or an unstoppable force. He's a brilliant human being who's chosen to embrace evil. The psychological depth of this story is what separates it from typical thrillers. Every character is fighting internal battles while navigating external threats. Lecter battles his own nature while helping Clarice battle hers. Even Buffalo Bill is struggling with identity and transformation, albeit in the most twisted way possible. If you loved this analysis, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our analysis into cinema's most challenging and rewarding films.